Petersfield Heath, popular as a recreational space for the people of the town for hundreds of years. But long before the dog walkers, the joggers, the cyclists and the fishermen came, this area was home to a totally different group of people. This is the site of a Bronze Age settlement, and here is the evidence, 21 barrows left as sole testimony to a group of people who once called the heath their home. Petersfield Heath on a very cold February morning. As you can see, it's snowing, but fortunately the things that we've come to see this morning are still very visible. Behind me you can see 3 mounds, prehistoric burial grounds. Now they've been here obviously for centuries and centuries, but they've never really been totally explored. And I've got with me Wayne Robertson, a trustee of Petersfield Museum, and they have a very exciting project coming up this year. Hello, thank you for coming along in this horrible weather.
Right.
Can you tell us a bit about what you're going to be doing here over the next 3 years?
Yep. Background to this is that this whole area has been a really important settlement for men for 5,000 years plus, and what we're standing right in the middle of here is the only physical evidence that we've still got that they were still here, that's in situ, and that's these barrows or mounds, and what we're going to do is try and explore by bringing in the community and volunteers and English heritage, is to find out more about them, because it's probably one of the biggest sites in the south of England, probably of national importance. We know from what's been found around there's a lot more stuff, but this is the only bit that's preserved. They're scheduled ancient monuments, so we've had to get permission from English heritage. The heath is owned by the town council, so there's lots of other bodies involved in getting it together, but the idea is to really excite the community, to get them to learn a bit about their history going back several thousand years, and how it links to the activities that there are today. I mean, in 1930 a chap called Stuart Piggott, whilst he was still at school in Petersfield at Churches College, he did a plan of what was here, but that was it. Nothing else has been done, and yet some people argue that, and might sound foolish, that of itself it's almost the equivalent thing here of Stonehenge, where it is. It's a really important piece of prehistory, and it'll tell us a lot about our distant ancestors who lived here, and involve a lot of people. The school, we're going to get schools on board so they can do educational trips, and at the end of the 3-year period the plan is that there'll be a book on it. It's in the South Downs National Park, so it'll become an attraction. We'll know how to preserve it better.
Because you've applied for lottery funding.
We have applied for lottery funding, yes.
How much have you applied for? Is that not a figure that
it's not a figure that we can talk about at the moment, because we haven't made it public.
Right.
But as you might imagine, over 3 years, involving lots of people, it's a fairly significant sum.
Okay. This is just one of the Bronze Age barrows up here on the heath. Wayne, can you tell me what exactly you're hoping to discover when you start all this investigation? What's in these things?
Well, hobbits. What we're hoping to find is how they were put together, how they were built, more information on how they were built, a lot of information hopefully about how people lived, what their customs were, perhaps. It's not too far a jump to be able to take out of this maybe some idea of what were then religious practices or the like. We don't know what we're going to find in the way of artefacts. We can only do, because they're national monuments, scheduled monuments, we can only do small trenches across a selected number, and we don't yet know which ones we're going to dig into, but if we can find out how they were put together, what's in the soil, whether they were built, whether they're chalk, whether there's flint, whether there are artefacts, we just don't know. That's one of the really exciting things about it, and where the real buzz, I think, is in not knowing. But we will find out we'll find out a lot more about the people that were here 4,000 years ago. So eventually what we'd love to do is to put a heritage trail together so that people can come and really into the distant future and get a really good idea about what went on here a long time ago. So we don't know what we're going to find, but we do know it's going to tell us a lot more about the people that were here than we know at the moment.
You're
given credit for, but it's because we're right on the border of Hampshire and Sussex. I think later exploration has tended to get away from the borders, so the local authorities haven't really spoken to each other. And now we'll be doing so, hopefully, with a national park, which of course is nothing to do with county boundaries. So that might help on a wider front. But yeah, we're taking a look at the area to try and sit it into context, because it isn't just of local importance. This is very probably of national importance and can bring people to the area, which has got to be good for us, good for the museum, which incidentally was formed courtesy of the Petersfield Historical Society. Years ago it grew out of the Historical Society, so we have to give a big thanks to them for all that they're doing as well. A lot of the research is coming from the Historical Society and other bodies, so but what we're going to find, no, we don't know. That's the good bit. And we'll have school children involved in helping us, and members of the public.
And that's the exciting thing, as you say, it's very much a community event, isn't it?
It's very much a community event, so if I could, through you, encourage anyone that's interested in history to talk to us, they'll find us on they can Google Petersfield Museum and find us. That would be absolutely great.
Yeah, lovely.
Yep.
Okay,
so,
all right. Thank you very much for coming out on this cold February morning, and I do hope you get the money and the whole thing goes very well.
Thank you very much. I've really enjoyed it.
Good.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you for saying that. You probably
if I could, through you, encourage anyone that's interested in history to talk to us, they'll find us on they can Google Petersfield Museum and find us. That would be absolutely great.
Yeah, lovely.
Yep.
Okay.
So,
all right. Thank you very much for coming out on this cold February morning, and I do hope you get the money and the whole thing goes very well.
thank you very much. I've really enjoyed it.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.